to your Tuesday edition of Afternoon Express Mzansi. I'm Balisa Dembe, and today we're putting a focus on the issue of bullying. We touch base with SA's biggest social media presence, Lasizwe Dambuza, as he opens up about cyberbullying. And later on, we learn some valuable advice when it comes to handling bullying. On social media, we've decided to stick to the same theme, and we love hearing from you. So we want to know, what's the best advice you've given or you've taken when it comes to being faced with a bully? I want to find out from the ladies in the kitchen. Chef Anele, Chef Dumi, how best do you deal with bullies?
I think for me, the best advice that I've gotten about bullying is I always understand that whoever that's bullying me actually wants to be me.
Oh, wow, that is fantastic. Woo! I love
never
it.
compete.
That's brilliant. And today on the show, we're making this beautiful chocolate eclair cake.
Yes.
I think it's just amazing.
It looks amazing. It looks delicious. Anyone that wants it, go onto the website, get the recipe details, join us, let's make this together.
It's now almost impossible to imagine what life was like before the advent of social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, amongst others. Whilst most of us use these platforms to interact with friends and family and share life experiences, some use social media negatively and bully others. One person who's fallen victim to this on numerous occasions is social media star Lasizwe Dambuza, and he joins us now. Welcome back to the Loft, Lasizwe.
Has it? We are virtual now. I could be in Western Cape, but I am in Joburg, stuck.
Cyberbullying has been topical for some time now. However, for those who are not familiar with this concept, what is cyberbullying?
Cyberbullying is when someone is not physically there, bullying you and making you feel small, but they are behind their phones and they are saying all of these nasty things so that they can make you feel less inferior and boosting their egos.
Now, you recently expressed your frustration being cyberbullied. Please may you talk to me briefly about some of your experiences.
Bullying doesn't get to me. This thing, it happens every day. Every day on social media, if you Google my name or search my name, there's something negative that has been written about me. But yesterday I got triggered because I am dealing with a lot of personal stuff. You'll be the first to know. I can disclose this on national TV. I'm actually dealing with a medical condition. Some person was just like, why aren't you addressing Black Lives Matter and all of those things? And you're busy posting your damn face. I would say it the way it is, but they were very vulgar, And it triggered me because I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, yes, I'm a public figure. Yes, I have a responsibility in society to educate and inform and to entertain. But overall, that I am human, And they tend to forget that after the glitz and the glam, there's myself that I need to deal with, and there are issues that I need to deal with, Lasizwe has problems like everyone else. Lasizwe has issues like everyone else.
We definitely stand by you. We support you. We encourage you, whatever you need. We are here as an Afternoon Express family for you and your family. And it is crucial for people to remember that it is easy to hide behind a phone screen and blast off whatever comment comes first to mind. But there is a soul behind the other end of that screen who is reading every single comment, and you never know how it's going to affect them. Thank you for being honest with us and vulnerable, Lasizwe, because now is the time to speak up against these bullies. There seems to be a general sense that it's okay to attack celebrities and other well-known personalities. Why do you think that this is so?
People have a sense of entitlement that they think that just because we saw Lasizwe driving and he said, "Good morning, guys. Oh, I'm having such a bad day." Now we think that we know him. We have a general consensus that this is the type of person he is. So it's a sentiment of entitlement. People are very entitled to celebrities, and Casper Nyovest tweeted the other times that when we keep quiet, you complain. But when we say something, you critique what we say. So what do you want from us? So this is how I feel, especially with what's currently going on in the world. I'd love to express how I feel about the world, but at the end of the day, my opinion will be critiqued. My opinion will be scrutinized, will be judged. I will be called inconsiderate because of my opinion. So sometimes I choose my battle wisely, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to interact or engage with activities like this because this, if I engage with this, it brings more stress into other stress I have. You know, I've got so much stress, you know.
What message do you have to people right now? You want to clear the air. You want to say your say. You want to make sure that those people who feel connected to you, who drive by you and feel like that's my friend, now is your chance to connect with them and tell them what's really going on and how you feel about certain issues. So what do you want to say?
Simple. I am human. I have feelings. You have feelings. Please be considerate.
Now, people don't seem to understand, Lasizwe, the emotional trauma that's a result of cyberbullying. So what is the emotional and psychological impact of being bullied in this manner?
It has caused me to have anxiety. It has caused me to be very, you know, when you overthink stuff, before I post or before I tweet, you have to think 500 times, who's going to see this? Who's going to talk? There's so much that you need to think about before you post.
So what message do you have for positive, loving South Africans and people who want to see and hear from you?
We need to, as a world, start putting ourselves first before putting the next person in front of us. Because the moment you put yourself first, you acknowledge how you feel, you acknowledge how you love yourself, you acknowledge even this little thing that, you know, you could change. I didn't know I love dessert. Now I do, because I put myself first. You know, every time I have a main course meal, I want ice cream afterwards, because that's what I like, you know. So the message is, whether you are gay, black, bi, whatever you may be, you need to love yourself first before you love someone else.
Beautifully said, Lasizwe, so eloquently and with all that emotion. And I want to continue on this vein of positive advice. For anyone who is currently going through this, who is going through cyberbullying and dealing with a lot, what would your advice be to them? And how do victims deal with this effectively?
The best thing that you can ever do when you're dealing with cyberbullying, there's something called the mute button. There's something called the block button. I've learned to utilize that, because the moment you feel like, oh my gosh, I need to respond, you are actually fueling it. Just mute, not even block. When you block, you're giving them that satisfaction. Just mute it. Mute it, and no one will ever know that you continue with your life as if nothing happened, because you're entertaining them. Don't entertain them. Why are you giving them energy? Don't give them any.
Thank you for reminding us about that, Lasizwe. We definitely appreciate you.
And thank you for having me, my loves.
Yeah, doing incredible work, not only on social media, but in the South African entertainment media landscape, reminding us not to cyberbully, do not be selfish, and think of the next person. Have a heart. We're all human. Siyabonga Butwam.
Thank you. You're doing an amazing job, sweetie.
You're doing great, sweetie. Thank you. I receive it, and so are you. More fire and more light. Now, I think it's safe to say that cyberbullying is #NotCool. We can do better, we should do better, and all it takes is a click of a button.
It's so sad that people actually get bullied like that. And I just want to give people internal boxing gloves and say, it's not your fault. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Be strong.
Very, very
so sad.
I agree with you, because it actually hits at people's personal view of themselves. So it's very important to stay positive in times like this. What are the people on social media saying, Bale?
Hi, guys. A very, very sensitive subject indeed here. We're dealing with cyberbullying. So we have asked, you know, what kind of advice have you gotten or have you given when it comes to being bullied? So online, Ukatlejo uti, hi, Afternoon Express. Well, I've been given the best advice not to let people control me. They told me just to ignore them because they're not worth it. True. Ignorance is the best advice. I don't know how you guys feel about ignoring people. I think sometimes it's easier to ignore people when it's not about you.
I agree with you. But like Lasizwe says, block them. It's the best way. If it's cyber, block them. If they're not near you, like, don't even consider them.
Actually, about the blocking thing, Pearl Tusi told me, she said, Balisa, don't block anyone. Those are your followers, Goyle. Make sure you secure the bag. Just mute them. If you mute someone, your follower count doesn't go down. Okay, look, this person clearly does agree. Ulese on social media says, you must be confident and you must not pay attention to them. #Afternoon Express. I'm loving the advice. Let's keep it going, South Africa. Now, bullying is not limited to the online space, but it can also occur in the workplace. So coming up, up, we connect with author and entrepreneur Cyberbullying to find out how she overcame the challenges when it came to being bullied in her career. Whilst many are trying to find their footing with the new normal, today I'm chatting to someone who is no stranger to adapting very quickly to worst-case scenarios. Cyberbullying may be a strategic brand communications consultant, writer, public speaker, and single mom. However, her story has been everything but predictable. Welcome to The Loft, Sihle.
Thank you so much for having me.
What made you abandon corporate SA and pave your own path in the communication space?
As a young Black girl in South Africa. And so there were numerous experiences that kind of started making me realize that actually maybe corporate is not quite the right space for me. But it wasn't until around 2015 that I had a horrendous experience with a line manager when I was still employed. And, you know, I went through depression. I had the worst time. I was hospitalized from stress and anxiety and all of these things. I was at risk of having a heart attack. And I then realized that actually I need to get out for the sake of my own health. And that really is essentially what led me to kind of going, okay, I need to figure out a life outside of corporate SA. I had always thought that, you know, when I'm probably in my 40s, I'd probably start my own business at some point and start consulting. I never imagined that it would be in my 30s. So life had a very interesting way of showing me who's boss.
Yeah, and you took that and you ran with it. I mean, this led you to write your very own book. You are an author, girl. We are the ones we need. Now, what was the motivation behind this book? I know you already said you found yourself in quite an interesting predicament where you needed to kind of take charge. And why was this so important to you?
I think one of the biggest things for me about writing the book was that I realized that a number of things. The first thing was that if I'm going through such a horrible experience as a young Black woman in corporate SA, then I definitely am not the only person. And then I began to realize that more people were going through the similar experiences, but did not have either the courage or the space to be able to share those experiences. And so what was happening is we'll talk about it, when we're all in the kitchen together as Black people, you know, at the office or around the corner or in our little WhatsApp groups. But when we actually have forums at work for equity or, you know, equality or transformation, people don't feel comfortable actually voicing their experiences and saying that this environment that we're working in is inequitable, it's unequal, it is intolerant of Blackness, because people are afraid of losing their jobs. And I found that I was in a very unique position at the time because I wasn't employed, so I wasn't worried about job security. I wasn't worried about being hauled in front of a disciplinary committee or being told that I'm contravening some sort of social media policy. And so I decided to use my voice and my platform to be able to share the stories of Black professionals with our voices, you know, and to actually detail what our experiences are like, what are the different microaggressions that we experience in the workplace, and how they actually impact on us, on our ability to fulfill our functions, on our ability to progress within the corporate ladder, but also on our mental health, because these are issues that we don't discuss enough.
Yeah. Now, Sihle, the best laid out plans are no match to a global crisis. No one can predict a pandemic. So how have you been able to remain flexible in your strategic planning and think quickly on your feet when you're faced with adversity and opposition?
I mean, I won't lie, it's been a very interesting year because obviously, you know, the year starts and we all go, okay, 2020, this is going to be the year, okay? Okay. Thank you, goodbye 2019, we're done. And there were so many things that even I had planned for this year. I mean, we went through May and I was like, I'm supposed to be in Atlanta.
Oh, no.
That's supposed to be happening right now, you know? But I think that, you know, my journey as an entrepreneur over the past, this is my 5th year now, has really forced me to always be able to remain agile. And so what this pandemic has meant was that I had to really think differently about how I continue to give information or give access or to interact with the communities that I have and to continue to build my profile and share my skills and abilities to attract new clients. And so I've had to think about, so if people are mostly at home and not going out much, what are they paying attention to? Where are they spending their time? What types of conversations are they having? And I think that that's one of the biggest things that all of us need to think about if we are either business owners or even if you're employed and you're servicing a particular market. This time was forcing all of us to be a lot more reflective and think about whether what we've been doing is actually the right thing to do. But also understanding the fact that, you know, everything that we're going through now with this pandemic is going to influence what happens going forward. And for me, some of the key observations that have come out, I mean, I'm obviously in the space that deals a lot with organizational culture and transformation within the workplace. And so a lot of the things that have come out for me is just seeing how even now that people are working from home, they're still experiencing toxic work cultures within the workplace.
We do know the challenges that the country faces right now, but I want to remain positive because the mind that knows the solution knows the cause and we can fix it together. So marketing this book, much like all your other endeavors, you've had to champion and chair by yourself. No money, no support, and no help coming anytime soon. Now, a lot of South Africans find themselves in that position right now. How have you been able, or rather managed, to keep motivated and innovative and communicating with no capital or team?
I think when I first started on this journey of entrepreneurship, I probably made the same mistake that a lot of people make, which is feeling like because you went through a bad experience that then the world owes you something, and so things should come to you, things should be easier because you've already been through a hard time, and that's just not the way that it works. And over time, I've had to learn to be a lot more resourceful. And what that has meant for me is that I've had to spend a lot more time researching what is possible, where I am with what I have. So I very much am about being able to build things, properties or offerings that I'm able to build, maintain, sustain myself, that are not reliant on other people. And so I've had to research different platforms. I've had to research what are the biggest trends that are going on around the world for what I do, what is suitable for my audience and my market. And I think that's what people need to learn to do. I've had to learn how to do my own websites. I've had to learn how to do my own social media management. environment and what works and doesn't work and what aesthetics are right for my environment. Understanding who are my competitors, what are they doing and what's working and what can I learn from that. I think people underestimate the amount of time that you actually have to spend understanding your environment, understanding how to reach your audience, and understanding how to package what it is that you're trying to sell in a way that will make it attractive to the people that you're trying to reach.
Wow. A mouthful indeed, but some gems indeed, because a lot of people right now feel like this task is bigger than them. They feel overwhelmed and they feel a little unmotivated. So I truly hope that Sihle Bolani's word, South Africa, has resonated with each and every person here. Even though it seems like you're hopeless and you're down in the trenches, there are support structures that are side by side with you, helping you. So head over to Sihle's social media platforms and find those support structures that you so desperately need. Sihle Bolani, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Now, Sihle has had a long journey in her career as the underdog, no stranger to fighting for what she believes. This phenomenal woman proves that she can do anything and make anything happen. It's never too late to pick up the pieces and start anew.
You know what I love, Anel? This topic ties into yesterday's topic about anxiety in the workplace. And it's so beautiful to see that she's picked herself up from those situations.
She's such a wonderful woman, Sihle, and now she's giving support to other people with that problem.
So there is a silver lining.
There's always a silver lining. Polly, what does the social media people say?
Speaking about a silver lining, girl, listening to Sihle speak makes me want to take my internal boxing gloves and fight on everyone's behalf. Okay, but speaking about putting boxing gloves aside, we've got a comment here from Brilla wanting to find out, what advice you've been given when it comes to bullying. Brilla says, one must be confident enough to stand up for themselves. Don't let them get to you, and whatever negative they say to it, make it a positive thing. So I think that goes back to having that positive mind frame.
True.
It's difficult because they cut your heart when they bully you. So it's very difficult to be positive. But I think when you start talking about it, talk to your friends, talk to your people at the workplace, verbalizing it, the healing starts.
That's when the healing starts. And that's that support system that we talk about. Sihle and all the women that you support, kudos to you and keep the good work going. Now, FNB has committed to ensuring our finances remain intact during the current economic climate. So next up, we learn about the silver linings that they're offering for SMEs during lockdown.
We can help you bank safely from the comfort of your home. Download the FNB app. FNB, how can we help you?
In South Africa, over 525,000 small and medium-sized businesses employ close to 6.6 million people, which translates to 11% of the population. And with close to 2 months of the lockdown behind us, a large majority of these business owners were forced to close up shop and face major uncertainty of what the future holds. But with level 3 of the lockdown finally on the horizon, all retail stores will be back in business. But with all the storm, there is always a silver lining to be found. And here to help navigate business owners through these unprecedented times is Andiswa Bata from FNB Business. Welcome to the Loft, Sis Andiswa.
Thank you very much. I look forward to engaging with yourself today.
Andiswa, can you give us a brief overview of the current economic climate small businesses are venturing into from the 1st of June as the country moves from level 4 to level 3 of lockdown, where all businesses will now reopen their doors?
Going into 2020, I think we can all agree it was already quite a challenging environment for businesses in South Africa. We'd heard at the time from Stats SA that the country had entered a recession in the fourth quarter of 2019. There was also a lot of global uncertainty and recessionary pressure on a global scale that led to a bit of currency volatility, amongst other things. Not to mention the impact of load shedding and how we know that that can also interrupt a business's ability to continue operations. Shortly thereafter, we then had the COVID outbreak, which, as you say, have pointed out, has rightfully led to a level of business slowdown as businesses were forced to shut down to contain the outbreak. But what it has done is that it's meant that a lot of businesses haven't been able to earn an income during this time. So as we move from level 4 to level 3, the one thing I do want to remind businesses of is the following. Whilst different recessions are obviously different and have different features, all we have to do is rewind back to the second half of 2008, at the start of the financial crisis, where you will recall the rand had lost 30% of its value against the US dollar, share prices had plunged, oil prices had plunged. South Africa entered a recession in 2009, leading to higher unemployment, pressure on businesses and consumers. And so if there is one thing we can draw upon, is that this country is resilient. And small to medium businesses in this country do tend to bounce back.
So as the economy does reopen and kickstart, small businesses need to start shifting their gears. So what should they be thinking about in order to rebuild their businesses?
One of the things that businesses should be thinking about is reflecting on what's available to them already to help them navigate. We know that the South African Reserve Bank, for example, has reduced the repo rate by a total of 275 basis points since the beginning of 2020, bringing the prime lending rate in South Africa to 7.25%. What does that mean for businesses? It means that for those businesses who have debt obligations that have a variable interest rate, after the business has paid their monthly installments, they now have a little bit extra cash in their back pocket because the interest charged on loans is lower. And that money can now be used to do things like protect employment, reinvest back in the business, or even just boost a cash buffer to allow one to get through the next few months. I think something else that we must also not forget is that COVID has taught us what business expenses a business can live without. It may have been unimaginable a few months ago that one might not need the same amount of office space, one might not need the same amount of air travel costs, but some of the silver linings from the COVID experience are that there are costs we can live without.
So then what can businesses do to survive and thrive going forward?
Apart from the very wide-scale relief measures that have been announced by South African banks and various private partners, as well as by the South African government, I think as one seeks to try and find some support and relief or assistance externally, it's also good for a business to reflect on what they have already done to help themselves, because that also strengthens any application for external assistance. So some of the things a business could seek to do is the cost-cutting reflection, which we mentioned earlier, or to what extent money is trapped in inventory that just hasn't moved into clients' hands, or money that's sitting in invoices that haven't been collected upon, or whether or not one has sufficiently embraced technology for cost-cutting purposes, or even just asking a few questions like whether or not one can buy secondhand or lease as opposed to buying new? I think those are all good operational questions that any business should be asking themselves right now as they seek to survive.
Andy, so your answers are so important. Where can customers go to access information on how they can navigate this current environment?
I would probably direct them mostly to the FNB app, where, particularly for business clients, one can go into the FNB app, click on the COVID-19 icon, and once in that COVID-19 icon, there is a specific tab to click for businesses, and in there is then a whole range of information as well as how to apply for certain relief measures. And in fact, I believe my colleague, Yolandi, will be engaging with yourself in the coming days to talk more about the business toolkit and business talk.
Brilliant. I can't wait for that. And as we're all loading our data so we can go to the FNB app, do you have any closing thoughts to share?
Sure. So I think apart from the fact that I truly believe that businesses in South Africa are resilient and do tend to bounce back, I would really like to issue an encouragement to small to medium businesses that whilst there is obviously the instinct to survive, they should also look at how they can thrive. And what that's going to need is, for one, to shake the fear factor, which, yes, is felt rightfully so because these are unprecedented times. But if you're so paralyzed by the fear of what comes ahead, you may miss the opportunity to reinvent yourself, to repurpose, to shift gears, to offer new products. We've already seen that there's now a far bigger focus on things like local production, given that global supply chains have been impacted by COVID. And perhaps this is the time for fashion designers to seek to rather make masks or protective gear for medical staff. This is perhaps the time for same-day delivery services to thrive. And so I think it's quite important that as much as this is uncharted territory, let's not forget that there are opportunities. And perhaps let's also remind each and every one of us that perhaps this is our Tuma Mina moment to support each other, support local business, use our buying power to help support and keep our local businesses alive. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sis Andiso, for showing us that there's always a silver lining with FNB.
Thank you.
Bye. If you're a small business owner seeking financial advice or relief for your business, you can visit the FNB website at fnb.co.za or the FNB app.
We can help you bank safely from the comfort of your home. Download the FNB app. FNB, how can we help you?
There's so many small businesses in trouble, and I'm so glad that FNB, you just go on an app and they can actually assist you.
Talk about innovation.
Innovation. You know, and I'm so sorry for those people. There's always that silver line.
True, true.
Yeah.
It's something great to look forward to. Balisa, I know you've got something positive to tell us.
Hi, guys. I wish I came with good news. No, okay, I'm joking. It's in fact more advice more than anything.
Okay.
You know, on social media, we have been going back and forth as to what is the best advice to take when dealing with a bully, whether it's on the net or in real life, right? Domi, I know in the beginning of the show, you kind of said something, right? You were kind of like, they just trying to be like you.
Yeah.
While we've got Isive here who agrees along with you. Isive says, you should ignore the bully, but you should know that that person wants to be just like you. Right? So, you know, a lot of people say that the best form of compliments is imitation,
Exactly.
right? And hating as well. If people ain't hating on you, you are not popping. I just want to read one more here. And we've got Desiree who says, you need to be strong and not listen to them. Hashtag Afternoon Express. So let's keep that strength going side by side with us the entire show here. Now, earlier on in the show, social media star Lasizwe Dambuza shared his experiences with cyberbullying. So coming up, life coach Anna Ren Rousseau gives us valuable tips on how to deal with online bullies. With more people falling victim to cyber abuse, it's become increasingly difficult to peacefully navigate the social media streets. This afternoon, life coach Annarin Rousseau is back to talk to us more on the extent to which cyberbullying can affect one emotionally and psychologically. Welcome back to The Loft, Annarin.
Thank you. Hi.
Now, Annarin, there's a number of reasons why people become bullies. What are some of the reasons one turns to such bad behavior?
I think what we need to remember is that we are not born bullies. It's either something that we taught, so maybe we're being bullied at home, and then we go on and we replicate this behavior that we're experiencing and that we're seeing, or we're bullying because, we're needing to cope with something. So maybe we've got a real low self-esteem and we're wanting to avoid the negativity around what we're feeling. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that negative that we're feeling and we're going to make sure someone else has it and someone else is experiencing it. So we're trying to avoid feeling it ourselves. So there's always almost like an underlying feeling or an underlying reason why a bully becomes a bully.
And cyberbullying has become more and more prevalent of late. So why do you think this is?
Well, I think the first thing is because it is constant. A couple of years ago, we went to school, we were bullied at school, and then we came home and we were away from the bullying. Now we can be bullied all the time. We get home from school, we're bullied. We can be getting into bed and we can be bullying. The bullying is constant. The other reason is it's much harder to be nasty to someone face to face. I'm not going to be able to say something really I can, but it's going to be harder for me to do. Opposed to getting on my phone, getting onto Facebook, resharing, adding a nasty comment, saying something nasty is so much easier on the phone. The other reason why is because, back in the day, let's say you did something silly. That lasted for 1 week, 2 weeks, and it was over. People forgot about it. Now what we're able to do is retweet it, reshare it. We're able to dig up all of the stuff that really should have just been forgotten.
And this is a way in making people relive that trauma all over again. What kind of side effects can we see coming out of bullying? And can this extend to trauma?
Absolutely. We cannot take bullying lightly. It's very, very hectic. And it becomes very severe. It can lead to depression. It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to a sleeping disorder. Bullying is even known to a form of suicide. So it's very, very hectic. And it cannot be taken lightly.
Now, why is it important for victims of bullying to speak out? And what is the easiest route to do so? Is there an easy route?
Look, it's very difficult, I think, to share the fact that you've been bullying, but it's the first step. It's the first step because it's the first step in that getting help. Also, by asking other people, by sharing with other people, it's going to give you a new perspective and to realize that you're actually not alone. If you think about it, we've actually all been bullied. Maybe not to such a large extent and not so in such a severe amount, but we've actually all been bullied. People have been nasty to us in several occasions. So the idea is to seek the help so you realize that you're absolutely not alone.
So what are some of the identifiable signs that your child or friend or adult has been bullied? And what action should we take?
Okay, well, the first thing is it's quite difficult to determine if someone is being bullied. But what you should do is see if there's a difference in their character, the way that they're behaving. So if you normally if that person is outgoing and quite chatty, and if they become reserved, wanting to stay in their bedroom, you need to pick up the signs that there's something wrong. If they start getting quite aggressive to you, almost replicating the bulliness, then that's also a sign, actually, hold on, there could be something going on here that isn't right. So like I said, it's kind of very difficult to pick up. But if you know the character of the person, then it's easier for you because you can identify that there's something going on. They might not be able to sleep, which is another really, really, really good one. So now what do we do about it? So the first thing is definitely you need to find help. You need to be able to talk to somebody about it. And by realizing that you're not alone, like I said earlier, it's like we've actually at some stage of our life been bullied, and we learn and we grow from that experience. So realize that you're not alone, and you can definitely seek help.
So, Anarin, finally, you know, if you're someone like myself, I'm a hothead. If someone comes for me, the Zulu in me fights right back, and I want to get back on and reply, and also just, so is that advisable? Should we be doing that? Or should we take a breath and regulate ourselves? How much self-regulation is needed here?
You know, I think it definitely depends on the situation, but you need to judge it. You know, if you going back on the attack is going to help the situation, then possibly consider it. But before you do the attack, you need to ask yourself, is that going to help me? Is that actually going to help the situation? Or are you just going to fuel the bully and make it even worse? So before you attack, or before you don't say anything and you kind of just hold on to it, find out what's the best situation, or ask yourself, how can we alleviate this and make this into the best situation? And also ask yourself, like, do I need to take this on? If they're being nasty to you and they're being a bully to you, do you need to take this on? Does it actually belong to you? And if it doesn't, let it go. It's actually got nothing to do with you. You know, it's their stuff, it's their projection, it's not yours.
Thank you again, Anarin Rousseau. Being a life coach, we take your advice very, very seriously, reminding us that if we are confronted with a bully, let's rather ask ourselves, why is that bully like that in the first place? Maybe they're just modeling insecurities that are deeply entrenched in them. And let's make sure to find the help that we need, speak up, and hopefully your situation will change. Thank you so much, Anarin.
Thank you very much.
Amongst the many things society can do without, cyberbullying surely is somewhere on the top of that list. We've seen some of the extremes that people go through to cope with bullying, and we strongly discourage the ill treatment of others online. Let's exercise more positive use of social media.
I'm so grateful for the feedback that she's given and that advice, because being a mother, it is important for me to be able to see those signs if my child is being bullied and pick up on it and know what I should do to make sure that it doesn't continue.
That's what I also took away, is just to be attentive to your friends, to everybody that you love, to look at their behavior and see if it changes.
Yeah, and
that is one of the signs, she says.
And that's very important. But Lisa, what are the people saying? I'm sure there's got to be like some sort of advice somewhere there.
Guys, before I let you in on what people are saying online, how deeply do you need to know your kids, though, to be able to pick up those nuances and those small details? Oh, I definitely think that we need to, you know, interrogate who we are and who our kids are. But on social media, you know, I have asked, what's the best advice you've given or gotten when it comes to dealing with a bully? And we've got Pindile P here. And Upindile Oti, cyberbullying can be more harmful or hurtful and dangerous than offline bullying for several reasons. People who bully online do so anonymously. It's sad because they may set up fake profiles or names. You must not pay attention to them. Hashtag Afternoon Express. Very, very crucial. Don't pay attention to them. But ladies, one thing that we need to pay attention to is what's happening in my stomach. So what's coming up and what can we look forward to in the kitchen?
Is your stomach bullying you right now?
I'm telling you, babes.
We're making a delicious eclair cake today with a delicious patisserie cake.
I'm looking forward to it. All of that coming up.
Clover Fresh Milk is the #1 milk brand in SA. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back, South Africa. Thank you for joining us once again. It's a beautiful Tuesday today, and we're keeping it nice and sweet with an eclair cake.
Yes, it's Chumi Tuesdays. I decided it's Chumi Tuesdays in our beautiful kitchen.
Let's trademark that. Chumi Tuesdays going forward. So we're going to be making an eclair cake today. I'm making the choux pastry for the eclair, and you're making that sweet, delicious filling.
The creme pâtissière.
Ah, oui, oui.
It's actually just a thick custard in layman's terms.
You know the French and Italians being fancy all the time. It's literally just custard, right?
Yes, it's just
but we're going to
custard.
zhuzh it up as usual. So normally an eclair is actually the dough that's filled with the cream.
Yes.
But we're layering today because we're doing levels on levels. From level 4, level 3, we are, we're taking it there. Anyway, let's start with the recipe.
Taking it up to the gourmet level.
You know how we do. So to start with the recipe today, we're going to be making the choux pastry, similar to what we did last week Friday when we made the cheesy churros. Today we're making eclairs, and what we're going to start with is we're going to melt our butter and our water together.
I want to learn this now because mine is always do my eclair and then I pipe it and bake it and then follow the plot.
Oh,
you know?
So you need to put in that air into it.
Yes.
But I think it also has to do with the eggs being in there because of the whites.
Yeah.
But also, let's just see how this turns out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've got the egg, the water and the butter melting in there. I'm going to go in with my sugar and my salt.
So you put sugar in?
I put sugar into it because you know how with baking salt, sugar, the flavor, how we do it. And then once this starts to boil a bit, then I'm going to actually just put in our flour and then start going in with the
eggs.
You know how we do.
Get your exercise for the day too.
Yeah, so once that's done, then we'll go in with the eggs one by one, which is very important because you also don't want to put all the eggs in at once because it just becomes a runny mess. So let's just wait for that to dissolve. What are you doing over there, madame?
Yes, I'm going to do the creme pâtissière. And as I said, it's just a thick custard, basically. You get creme anglaise, that's a thin custard that you pour over your jelly. And then the creme pâtissière, you put in between layers or you pipe it in. So we normally use milk or cream, but we've got cremel. So I'm just going to take like a half a cup here. And the recipe is on our website.
So anyone that wants to make this can also... Because
Can
like we
go to
always
see.
have our people covered.
I
Like
know.
we got you covered.
They can get anything and everything in our website. So I'm just going to mix our cremel in here. So this is basically your cream that you'll usually milk. And then I'm going to mix my eggs. I've got 3 egg yellows here, or egg yolks here. And I've got the smallest whisk this afternoon. Why? I don't know. My egg yolks, I'm going to add some sugar in here. And what makes the custard thicker is the egg yolks and some corn flour that I'm just going to mix with a little bit of water. And the corn flour also ensures that the egg doesn't scramble.
That's
also
perfect.
another one, yeah. So I'm just going to add that.
All right.
You
Sorry
carry
to
on
disturb
there,
you.
yeah.
I just added the flour to our mix here, so I don't know if the viewers can see. So what's going to happen is it's going to be nice and thick. This is the start of it. We want it to be nice and thick here. Luckily, because we've got this mixture, I'm also going to add some of our cremel into the dough because we want that creamy flavor. And now that it's still hot, it's going to dissolve nicely into the mix, so I don't have to worry about there being lumps in the actual mixture or anything like that. So let me just open up my pack.
What I like about cremel is that you don't need to have cream or anything in your house. You can just have your cremel box next to your stove. And you use it in your coffee, and you use it in your custard, and you use it in your creme pâtissière.
I agree with you. You can use it in almost anything. The recipe on the box is actually for samp. Can you believe using? And it turns out so nice and creamy. It's so delicious. I love the flavor of it. Like if there's anything that you like with cream, add some cremel to it and see the huge difference it makes.
You know my favorite thing with samp is? It's curry, trap, and trotters.
Ooh, that sounds
When are
like
you going to make that for
I feel
me,
like
girl?
that's an upcoming recipe that we should be making on the show. Just saying. So I'm going in with my eggs here. Like we said, we're going to do this one by one. We whisk the eggs in one by one. I like to do it while it's still hot because it also makes it easier for you to mix everything together. And also it sort of par cooks the egg, not cook it as in to make it like the white part to show up, but it sort of make sure that that eggy flavor gets cooked out of the mixture itself.
That's the
but
secret of choux pastry. It's like to klop eier in. It takes a lot of
work.
power.
And we're not going to do that here. We've got the recipe details on the website. So anyone that would like to know how that is done, just go on the website and get the instructions over there. Luckily for us, because like we said, we're magicians of the kitchen, we've got an already made puff
So
paste.
show us, how did you make that round circle?
Yes. So the first trick is whenever you're going to do this, use baking paper or a non-stick pan. And then I like to just pipe a little bit of the dough onto the pan because what this does is it helps the baking paper to actually stick to the tray. That way it doesn't just float around in the
Because it does. If you're going to pipe on that, you're going to pick the paper up.
Exactly.
It's just going to be a groot gemor.
Exactly. And then we go in with our piping bag and we pipe this beautiful mixture onto the bottom of our baking tray. And then we keep going until we've used up as much of our dough as we can.
Do you bake that at like a low temperature, or is it like middle 180 in the middle of the oven thing?
You know my magic number is 180. I literally use 180 for everything. You want to bake? 180.
180
you want
in the middle
roast?
oven.
180. Just make sure it's on the in the middle of the oven, and and that's it. 180, you're sorted. It's a surefire way to go right. There's no going wrong.
Yes.
All right, so you're going to bake this in the oven for 30 minutes. Start it off at 25, check it after 25 minutes. After it's baked, it's going to come out looking nice and fluffy. If you don't want to go buy cake, guys, there's no reason to keep buying cake.
Yes.
This is your cake.
It's delicious. It's so
and it's
clever.
nice and fluffy.
Yes.
And pillowy and soft and delicious. And I know we're making a cake here, but I just want to show people on the inside. It's nice and it's like perfect. It's
You
got
know
those
what I
air
will
bubbles
do?
inside.
I will even add some more cream on the inside. I'll pipe it in on the inside.
I have no words for you. I'm done.
Okay, let me just finish this creme pâtissier here.
So while you do that-
when this is cooked like or very hot, you just add it slowly to your egg mixture so the egg doesn't scramble. So just on a slow stream. I can smell the vanilla. Oh, smell like my mom's kitchen. Love it.
Smells like home, right?
Yes, it does. And then we're just going to add this back into the pot until it thickens up. And then you're going to pipe. You've got one already that you got going to pipe, or didn't you have
No,
one?
I'll just wait for yours, and then we'll just take it over there for dinner with Palesa. But basically, so you've done that, and every time, whenever you have an eclair, there's always chocolate on top of it.
Yes.
You've got that beautiful coating of chocolate on that. So to make that, we've got some water in here, and then we're going to scoop in. Can I have some of your cremel over there?
Yeah, I'm going to add some. Do you have water in there?
I've got.
Oh, you've got water. Can I add some cremel in there?
Sure.
How much do you want?
Let's do this, actually.
Perfect. You can have enough. You can never have
more
enough
than enough.
cremel.
Perfect. And then you just dissolve the cremel. Make sure your milk is hot. And all you do is that hot milk goes onto your chocolate. Pour it on. Let it sit for about 10 minutes. Once it's dissolved, it's going to be nice and smooth. And you basically just spoon that over your eclair. And that is your dessert. You can eat it for breakfast, lunch, main, starter, whichever you prefer.
It's the cleverest thing to make a chocolate sauce. People think you have to put it in the microwave. It's going to split. Or over a pot. It's going to split. Just warm the cremel and pour it over.
Pala, are you ready for dinner, darling, or dessert?
Clover Fresh Milk is the #1 milk brand in SA. Made with love by Clover.
Ladies, thank you so much for dessert. It looks delicious.
It's divine.
I'm quite excited to tuck into all that chocolatey sweet goodness. On social media, we've been discussing this the entire show from top to toe. What best advice you would give for a bully or someone who is on your case and just won't let up? So we've got Arabile, and Arabile says here, you must stand up for yourself instead of hiding and giving the impression that they have won. They are just not worth your time. Stay positive, #Afternoon Express. We've got Fazal Olifant, who also says, negative people need drama like oxygen. Stay positive and take their breath away. Remember, what you give attention to, you give power to. And I had to end the show on that beautiful note.
I love it. You take the breath away, you take the power away. Isn't that fantastic?
Yes, we're saying goodbye to
Yes.
bullies. We're saying goodbye to all the stress and negativity. Hello to positivity and celebrating each other, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, ladies.
Cheers, Mama.
Cheers. Oh, South Africa, thank you for engaging throughout the show. We really do it. We do appreciate it. As we tuck into some delicious dessert, though, don't you want to already start cutting for me there, Anel? Hi, Anel
I'm
is
gonna
being
take this
stingy
thing
today. Thank you, ladies, again. Now join us tomorrow as we turn our focus to wellness and fitness. Until then, Mzansi, good night. God bless. Stay safe and happy eating.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Nada. Feel Good production.